Tom, you want to do the prayer?
Gladly. Please bow your heads. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your presence in all of us. And with every breath we take, we acknowledge your presence and the beauty that you bring into our lives, the miracles you provide on a daily basis. Lord, today in our meeting, we ask that you give us all some wisdom to make decisions that are tough and that we apply the basic principles of decency and integrity in everything we do. Lord, we ask these things and give you thanks in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God,
one and indivisible. Thanks for the short notice reaction.
Lord, no,
That wasn't, that was just like, it's like freshly baked. Okay, so we see comments from the public. You have any? You gave me a sheet. Is that for later?
Yeah, they're on the agenda.
Okay, they're on the agenda. Okay. Consider an act on request for adjustments to and relief from specific charges imposed by the district. You have any? Okay, great. And then we're going to go to the consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to pull out to discuss? On items 5 through 9.
just a second. No.
Anything? No, have a motion to
Give a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended or not.
a
Somebody
second.
second? Okay.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. So we have items 10 and 11, and I'd like to move item 10, which is the Spindle Tree Detention Pond discussion, to the bottom of the agenda. I guess they put it at number 19A, between 19 and 20. The last item. So we'll go on to item 11, which is the sewer backup on 27 Clear Bend Place. And I understand we have a couple of residents that would like to speak on that. I do.
Jason Runyon, my wife Misty. So never had to do this before, so bear with me, but I mean, just kind of wanted to run this by you guys, let you know what's happened. Essentially we had sewer backup into our house back in the middle of June. You guys were great about coming out to fix, which was, I guess, part of the line that your technicians deemed to be your responsibility to repair. It was repaired very quickly. And then Kim actually filed an insurance claim for the damages at our property. And then things just slowed way down after that. Took 6 weeks before an adjuster came out. We lived in the house torn up. I've been going back and forth with your insurance agent I didn't print it, as I said. It was actually 174 pages, the emails of going back and forth with your insurance company, which they are denying full liability for the claim based on a maintenance program that you guys have in place, which I've deemed from discussions with some of your members that would have never addressed the portion of the line where this the tree roots caused the clog. And so I'm not sure where the insurance company has any leverage to deny the claim, but they are still offering only a third of the $30,000 in damages. That's where we're at as of yesterday at 4:45 p.m. So essentially, this has been going on since June. We've been living in a torn up house that smells like sewer even after remediation and floors being ripped out. We just finished renovations like last week. So we're now very poor and $35,000 out of our savings account to fix our house up back pretty much the way it was. And that's pretty much where it is. We've been pretty patient. We've been, haven't brought any legal or lawyers into things at this point, but it's been a huge impact to our lives. I mean, I'm in sales. I work from home. I've been working at the kitchen table. I've been working from my kids' game room for 5 months. Obviously financial impact. It's huge time. I've spent tons of time trying to get to the bottom and essentially debate back and forth with your insurance company, which is like butting your head up against a wall. So that's kind of where we are. I'm kind of kindly asking the board to assist us with, potentially closing financial gap between what your insurance company is offering and what we, the cost to remediate our problem, has been. So that's kind of where we are. And that's it. There's pictures. The flood backed up into our half bathroom, flooded the whole front third of our house. Since it was laminate flooring, all of the various restoration companies that came in to look said, because you have laminate flooring, you're never going to match it, and the water seeps between things. So pretty much all contiguous flooring needed to be replaced. So that's in the quotes and the estimates. Drywall had to be cut. We lived in the house for 6 days with 10 fans and 2 HEPA filters going. And it was not a very fun experience, and it's taken forever to get resolved. And if we hadn't just paid for it out of pocket, we would still be walking on concrete floors. So
So you have a final number that you're asking so you said you.
yeah, I
basically
think it's in there. It's right. I think it's 27,800 I can pull the emails and forward them to Eric or somebody. But 27,800 is what the insurance company deemed based on because we already paid $1,800 out of pocket for the remediation and the drywall being cut. It was about $25,000 to put it back the way it was. And then, of course, the insurance company depreciated, the items that we had to throw in the trash, like area rugs, towels, things like that, because it was a hot mess. So, essentially that's where they deemed it was. I calculated about 32, but what was filed with insurance and what they deemed to be the total damages was like 27,880, somewhere around there.
They offered to pay
10 grand.
10 grand.
Yeah, 4 grand at first, and I didn't answer, and then they went to 7, and they've been heels on the sand at 10, even though I've pretty much disproven their whole defense that the maintenance program they keep referencing only covers the sewer mains. It would never touch the branch towards the house. So I don't see how they have I'd prefer if they paid, but they don't seem like they're going to. So that's kind of where we're at.
You're asking us to make up the difference between the 10 and the 27.
Yeah, just do the right thing, because it wasn't my fault. It wasn't in an area of the pipe that was my responsibility, but it's.
Who is the insurance company? Gallagher.
Yeah.
Is that a local company?
Another in Colorado.
So, yeah.
Okay, have you dealt with that company? Have you talked to them?
It's your insurance. Yeah,
Okay,
we would have been with them for a while.
okay.
And I have a clarifying question because I didn't
Sure.
see it in the document. Where's the tree that the,
It's not, there's roots that migrate.
I
through
understand
these
that the
pipes.
tree is on whose property?
I guess what he's asking is it in the right of way or is it on your property?
I assume it's my property. It's there when we bought the house, nothing we planted. I didn't choose where the water lines are buried. I'm assuming that tree was there when the lines were put in too.
If you want to talk about, we didn't really talk, you didn't hear some of the details of where and why and kind of what happened. If you want to hear that, I can kind of explain some of that. So
Appreciate that.
you will, okay. So, obviously, there's a sewer main that typically would be towards the street, right? And then in a normal situation, you're gonna have a tap that's gonna go into that pipe, and then it's gonna go up to a house. In most cases, there's not a tap per house. In most cases, in the Woodlands and elsewhere in, Houston, everywhere, you're gonna have one tap and it's gonna go up towards the house, and then there's gonna be a Y that's, so there's a distance between the main and that Y of some distance. And so if we run into a situation in the Woodlands where there's just a single tap and the break is on the customer side of the tap, then it's the customer's responsibility. When there's a Y, it's at the Y. So at the Y usually is our responsibility. And then beyond that Y, going towards either house would be the customer's responsibility. We deal with this every day, all over. And so root balls are nothing new to us. In this case, the roots that were blocking the pipe, it was right in the Y. And it's interesting, when you look at the pictures, I mean, both sides of the wire have a root ball. It was probably only a matter of time till the neighbor probably had.
They were already having, he said,
Well,
they
really,
were hearing funny sounds already and he didn't know what was causing it. So
right there.
that's saved him the trouble.
So that's the top end of the Y. So on, looking on from, I guess, the customer side, looking down onto our side. And so when we identify, if we're able to identify in the field where the problem is, and a lot of times we'll put our camera in and we'll identify the location. We do that all the time. We do that for free for the customers. If we can only do that if it's not full of water. So in this case, we were able to determine that the problem was right there at the Y, and that root ball existed in the Y. And
So if you look at that, I look at it like a blue rag, or is that where is the root ball right
it's all
there?
root. Yeah.
It's all inside the pipe.
Big old root ball.
If you go to the other picture, it'll show that's what it should look like. It
Should
should
look
be
like.
on it, right? Absolutely.
So if it was
Okay.
10 feet down, it'd be your problem, but
No, it's the opposite.
other way.
It's 10 feet. Well,
Yeah, okay. To the street.
if it was a foot
Right.
up in this picture.
Yeah.
Towards the houses, it would have been the customer's responsibility. That's been our,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mr.
our
Butler,
maintenance
hold on.
programs on the mains, like Mr. Runyon stated, it strictly covers the mains. It's not, I mean, we've got 34, however many connections we have. And so to do maintenance on those Ys and those connections, we don't do that. We target the mains and we do that every 7 years. We're doing that in each month or whatever, so.
so that would be on the main. So we go in the main, the bigger pipe, and clean that out. But this is coming off of that going up. There's
Yeah.
no way to
Yeah.
do any maintenance up the line,
Mhm.
up the small line.
But the Ys are the districts to maintain. The Ys.
Wise are.
The Ys are.
Two questions. First, has this situation ever happened before?
Yes.
And what is our position then?
That it would be our responsibility.
Okay. And what's our legal responsibility?
Well, as far as, I think it's up to you. It's not, you wouldn't be obligated to do either.
I'm concerned about precedent. That's
Well-
what I'm concerned about.
What we typically do is we'll submit it to insurance like we always do. It's not often that there's this much damage in the house.
Right, yeah.
That is a little unique.
That is,
Although I've seen it before, but that part doesn't happen very often, because usually as soon as the problem starts to occur, we get notified, and usually we can cut it off before it gets to this level. But in this case,
Yeah, nobody was home when it happened. My wife walked into poo water all over the floor, and I got outside and popped the cap for the sewer clean out to relieve the pressure. But I mean, it was already too late by that point. And I've now since bought one of the sewer poppers, wish if I would have had that $38 part. That would be awesome if you guys provide to everybody in the Woodlands. Your insurance rates would probably go down if you did that. And that would have alleviated my problem, but I didn't know about them until this, because I never had a reason to research them.
Was there any time presumably when you purchased residential insurance that you opted in or out of sewage coverage?
Never opted out, but I didn't opt in apparently either, and nor has anybody, not one resident that I've talked to in the
Mhm.
Woodlands, on anybody on our street has opted for the sewer coverage. So my insurance policy won't touch it.
Mhm.
And I don't think they should have to, because it's not in, it's not in a part of the line that's my responsibility. If I had sewer coverage and the clog occurred in my part of the line, that's where I feel like my insurance should be involved.
Yeah, so and just to share my initial thoughts with my peer group is that it really boils down to where's the root ball and what constitutes our area of responsibility, trying to be Solomonic about this. I was thinking about what makes sense. So I guess I'd have the question when I look at the picture, I do see obstruction on one side of the Y, almost complete, on the other side, partial. What's the definition of Y? You said earlier about there's policy that says that the district is responsible for the Y, but it wasn't clear as to say,
Install off of the main, the Y,
Okay.
and then the residents or developer, whoever they tie into the Y.
I see.
So, and then that's the private side of it. At that point, at the Y, when that tie-in occurs. So, yeah.
You know where the root penetrated? This picture looks like it's beyond the Y toward the street where the main is.
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know where it actually went in.
and this
Typically it'll go in through a joint or a crack, but I
Mhm.
don't have any information on the specifics.
I want to say the big 8-inch where these tied in were cracked when they dug it up. They had to replace that whole 8-inch combining portion of it below the Y because it was cracked, I believe,
Which would have made sense.
which would have made an entry point for the root.
Yeah, but yeah, they would have done that if that was the case. I'm
The
not.
two Ys
Yeah.
come into a larger tube, and I'm pretty sure those guys, when they were showing, there's a little bit of a language barrier, but those guys that were working on it, when they pointed out, they showed that larger pipe further towards the main was also cracked. And they had to replace, they had to get an excavator and they dug a, 6-foot hole, and took a couple days because they had to go get parts. But that part beyond where the Y connects looked like it was cracked, and they had to replace that whole, like the size of a bucket size pipe below that.
You can see the repair in the one picture, Maureen, if you.
Go
can
back one.
Go back. This is the whole, it's probably hard to tell from this vantage point, but kind of gives an idea on the depth of the repair.
That larger white pipe, I think, was repaired and replaced as well, because that was actually cracked.
So is the Y in this picture slightly to the left of the rectangle?
It's right in the center.
Okay.
And are those trees
See
uprooted?
Coming off.
Did you cut down those trees?
No, I mean, I don't have permission from the Woodlands to cut down trees.
You couldn't even identify what tree it came from in reality.
What's that?
You couldn't identify probably what tree it came from.
No, we had 4
It-
trees in that. 2 of them have died from all the crazy freezes, and so I have no idea. My neighbor has a tree just diagonally up the driveway. I have no idea if that root came in from his yard. We have no idea.
And to satisfy you're looking for $17,800
Correct.
plus the insurance.
Just the damage that was done, based on the restoration company to put it back the way it was. That wasn't, any upgrades. That was exactly putting back the laminate floor, repairing our drywall, and, replacing the things that got soaked. And
Did you get a public adjuster to do a comp of the damages?
our insurance, your insurance
Yeah, I know,
company
it's our
contracted
insurance.
somebody out.
At the other side of things, you can get a public adjuster to contest these adjusters.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Um,
So are we disputing the liability here, or are we, what's the big question here?
Do we pay for it?
Yeah, that's a big question for the 5 of us. And I also, just in information gathering Thomas. One thing that I'm trying to reconcile is this is a matter of risk as well, and decisions that our side has made as far as our insurance policies and the decisions that you've made as well. There are my understanding is that there are residential policies that cover sewage types. Partial. And so the question is, do we essentially take on the entire cost for mutual decision?
That's why I asked the question of Eric about precedent. Has this happened before? And what has our position been and what have we done? I think that goes a long way. We don't want to set a precedent. That's not good for the rest of the residents in 46. So the issue really boils down to what's the history, what's Eric's recommendation, and then we've got to decide as a board what is fair for the other constituent residents in our community. That's how I see it. Tom, how do you feel?
We have any leverage on the insurance company that we can, I mean, I think only offering 10,000 or what,
10,000.
10,000 out of a total of almost 30,000 is typical insurance behavior.
Yes.
Doesn't surprise me a bit. And if we let them get away with it this time, they'll do it again. When it happens, not if, but when it happens, they'll do it. Do we have any leverage on the insurance company that we can fight back?
I mean, it's your insurance company, so we can serve, we have provided all of the clarifications that they've asked for. Specifically, as he mentioned, they were talking about the cleaning, the maintenance program that we have. Oh, well, that should have, therefore, since we're doing that, therefore there's no negligence on our part. And so we continue to explain to them how the maintenance program works, where the why is in relation to the maintenance program, and that really wasn't, the maintenance program doesn't really have anything to do with this particular issue.
So in other words, you agree with
I do.
the resident.
I do.
Could you take this could you seek legal counsel and use?
I mean, I can, but I've already spent $35,000 out of pocket, and you don't know how deep this will go. I don't have a never-ending savings account.
He's suing us.
For
Why
legal.
couldn't he sue the insurance company?
It's our insurance company represents us.
It's our insurance company.
It's not a third-party insurance company?
No,
Yeah.
with the
We
client.
did this to ourselves.
Well, I mean,
So
Well, we hired the insurance company.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you have a reputable company.
Yeah.
We went through the normal process.
Yeah.
And this is where we're at.
And the offer that Mr. Runyon is presenting, that was as of 4:34 yesterday.
4:45 yesterday.
We had responded with additional information yesterday about 3:30 to try to help clarify any other questions that they had and provided additional information. And so after reviewing evidently what I presented, they responded and sent him this offer.
You got that you guys have.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been at 10,000 for 2 months, not budging, even though I pretty much disproved the maintenance program thing. So I don't see how they have anything to hide behind and not pay, because there shouldn't be any other. I mean, if there's going to be a demarcation set where this is your part of the line and this is my part of the line, then if it's not in my part of the line, then I should not have to pay a thing.
The other district use the same insurance company? Does that provide any leverage?
It's all the Woodlands. That's how we,
The home Woodland? No.
yeah, it's all Woodlands. Auto.
Well, I agree with him. I think if the insurance company needs to be sued, and that means suing us, then so be it, because I think it's our responsibility.
So,
I mean, I'd rather not have to go get legal fees and drag it out another 6 months and make it, because if I do that, I mean, it's.
closed session. Let's go to closed session. We'll, at the end of the meeting, we're going to close the doors and we'll talk about it as a group and we'll get back to you. Is that okay?
Can I be put on the agenda for next month to make sure we're.
We will,
Where things are?
if we'll come out and may say something, may not, but if we don't say anything, then Eric will put it on the agenda for January, because we probably won't meet in December. Okay?
I share his frustration about the graying it out and what we're putting the family through. So
So you want to discuss it more in closed, and then we'll come out at the end of the meeting, and if we can make a decision, we'll see if we can, as we discuss it and with the attorney.
I'll tell you, I feel like I would like to see the language of our policy to see if this level of detail is in the policy or is it absent, because that then helps make an informed decision.
Why don't we go into closed session? We can discuss all that,
Okay.
and the attorney can provide any advice from his experiences. Okay, so, hang around, or Eric will call you and let you know. But either way, we'll, either at the end of the meeting, or we'll take it up again in January.
Appreciate your consideration. I mean, I don't really want to have to go the legal route
No,
because I think there's probably more, considering the time and the, all the other things, the damages could be far more than just the material things that were damaged. So I'd rather not get into all that. If you guys can
Understand?
just do the right thing and,
Let
make
you
me
know.
whole again. That's all I care about.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks much for coming. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Closed session.
Okay, so we're going to go to item 12 now. And Ed? Sure.
Jacob's going to give you Woodlands Division report, but I will tell you before he starts that the Bear Branch monthly operating maintenance report is on page 52. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those after Jacob is finished.
Well, good evening. The operation report for the Woodlands Division is on page 14. Nothing out of the ordinary for the month of October. Everything's running good. If you look to page 24, is our updates on the project.
14, I have a question. Is there any update on that spike in the water loss?
Woodlands Water's been working on that.
Well, it's on 14. That's the only reason I'm mentioning that, yeah.
We're trying to see if we can find anything on our end. We found some of it in some of the reporting error, but not near the amount.
Yeah, because that's pretty
September.
massive.
Yeah. So we're continuing to look into it and see.
Can we put that on the agenda for next month, please?
I mean, it'll be in.
They'll be their packet,
Okay.
probably. If they find it, they'll tell us.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. So other than that, just wanted to point out the projects updates. Kind of a more detailed update on those, starting on page 24, and we're gonna add this into the packet twice a year. It's for more update on it.
You're gonna update it twice a year, but you'll include it every month, or just the?
Well, no, we're gonna include it twice a year
Twice a year,
because, yes, to give you those updates. And then also on page 42 starts the graphs for the aquifer levels, just for some of y'all's information. Happy to take any questions.
I actually do have some questions from the trustee report. I think that's this was on page 91. No question, right? 92, which is talking about the aquifer levels, and the specific statement made by Chris that the 2022 study indicates approximately 15 years of remaining life on the Evangeline wells before aquifer level declined to a point where the wells would need to be capped, which is a significant reduction in our water availability. I know we get both water from both Jasper and Evangeline, also Lake Conroe, and according to the Lone Star Groundwater Conservation District, they refer to this as a continuing deficit pump from the Gulf Coast aquifer. Now, as an observation, I'm not an engineer or an expert on this. As an observation, as a risk to the woodlands, and in specific 46, because that's really what my focus is on. It says to me that we are, over the next 5 to call it 8 years, going to be getting to a point where we're going to be so low that what we are pumping is going to need additional processing. It won't be that clear, that easy. Is that an accurate statement?
I was gonna let you.
Okay.
Throw the ball up and see who catches it. Our Evangeline wells,
Yes.
they'll only go down so far before we have to either lower the pump. And once we get to a point where we can no longer lower the pump, then we're gonna have to shut the well off.
Right.
we have in our 10-year capital program to replace wells as some of the Evangeline wells go out of service.
And we place them in the Jasper.
Yes.
Which is also,
Only about
Degrading
15% of our volume of groundwater comes from the Evangeline. The rest of it comes from the Jasper.
okay.
And that's how our permit is structured with.
And
Lone
Conroe
Star.
backs that up. Lake Conroe?
Lake Conroe backs it up with surface.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And you're not, at this point, you don't think that we should have some type of oversight group from either the SJRA or WWA to make sure that we're not running into any potential problems?
You're going to be seeing the capital program annually to know whether we are
Okay,
closing out a well or proposing a new well.
I'm covered.
That should be sufficient oversight.
Thank you both.
There was a meeting at Lone Star several months ago. And if you listen to what they're saying, the growth in the county is very significant.
Yep.
And, we kind of know what we have with the current water plant. We're going to be at about 70% capacity, so there's 30 or so percent left. And, but all the growth is, right now predominantly coming out of the aquifer.
Right.
And so it's going to slowly, reduce in level. And we have still unused 25% or so of the GRP plants. So we need to, work on making use of that by attracting new customers around us, which will slow the outtake from the aquifer.
Yeah, just earlier this year, from the GRP's perspective, when I got on, the average contractual was 13.2 average daily flow, annual average daily flow, and now we've just changed that to 20. And that's the 70% he's talking about.
Yeah.
So earlier this year, we were at 13.
So there's another 7 million gallons per day or 8.
Yeah, roughly,
Well,
just over the last 6 to 8 months since we've
Yeah,
been.
my only observation is, and it's clearly not technical, from a business risk perspective, and I know that Joseph is into the risk analysis work, and he should be. We're spending an awful lot of time on the bond issues that brought me into this board, at that time, $500 million, which was projected to be a 10 to 30-year plan. And here we have a risk factor that has already been acknowledged both to the trustee board and in literature and by some of the organizations that monitor it as beginning to possibly start in some 12 years. I think that we should be paying attention to it from a SWOT perspective. And I know that the trustee board negated doing a SWOT analysis, but it is a risk to the woodlands. And I'm just bringing it up as an observation. If we don't want to do it, or we think everything is covered, I respect your decision, but it just seems to me that it is a significant potential risk. And I don't see how we can fill up the reserve to needs that we feel comfortable at this point in time, given the continuation of the drought and the name of that company, the Lone Star Groundwater Conservation District, saying the continuing deficit pump from the Gulf Coast. So I'm asking for the group, your input. I just don't know the answer.
One thing to keep in mind, we do these aquifer studies approximately every 5 years.
Yeah, I knew that.
And so that's coming up soon in the next year or so. So we're continuing to have new data to continue with the monitoring of what our water sources are.
Okay.
And then to add to the conversation about the surface water plant, a number of the MUDs east of 45 and the south part of the county are starting to inquire about obtaining surface water, which may cause an expansion of the plant with different partners and different rates.
And for Woodland's perspective, we're at 50% conversion, right? The SJA is through a consultant is working on a disinfection, it's called disinfection byproduct analysis. The reason that we're doing that is the interface between groundwater and surface water can cause disinfection byproducts that you don't want. What we learned before my time, but when we learned what in 2015, 16 or whatever it was, when we were at 65%, that the level of disaffected bystanders was increased, so that was dropped back down. You can address them by additional infrastructure. Well, infrastructure, filters.
Filters and
various
chemicals.
things. And so the result of this study that's being done, that we should know more next year, will tell us what the resultant infrastructure requirement will be needed in order for us to go up to some additional level. So
Is that infrastructure at the freshwater side or the?
freshwater side,
Freshwater side.
at the water plants.
It would be at the elevated storage tanks.
And
So whatever that is.
desalinization is not on the table at all.
We're not looking at it at this time.
Okay, that's
We're too
fine.
far away to
I
do,
just asked the question.
are we too far away for a desalinization plant?
Too far away on rates for diesel.
Now, there's.
I'm just thinking primarily from the coast.
No, I mean.
Well, yeah.
What we would
Right,
do
you
is
get it.
probably drill
Yeah.
deeper and
It's salty water.
pull brackish water and clean it.
Yes, you can, but it's more expensive. And the alternative is less water or major restrictions or something else. And that's the question I'm asking from an observation perspective, because I don't know the dynamics that go into it. I'm not an engineer.
I'm more familiar with desal just from living and being in Florida for as long as I did. And I know it's prohibitively expensive. I just thought we were too far away from the coast to even consider it.
Yeah. At least not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we are very aware of the threat.
Okay.
There are groups that we're working with, different individuals in the community that have started to pick up on these problems, that have gone to the GMA 14 meetings, that have gone to the Lone Star meetings to voice their frustration with the current state of Lone Star and how they are looking at this. So there is some pressure being put on them, but ultimately that organization is reporting that they're going to continue to allow the growth to occur through the desired future conditions through groundwater. And so at some
But
point.
we may see the mix move from 50% to some number lower or higher.
I mean, there's going to be a pinch point at some point
Sure.
where a municipality is going to say, okay, maybe I should go to Estuary and get some surface water. Because, wells are too expensive. In our case, we're at 50. Whatever comes out of this report may say, okay, well, with minimal infrastructure spend, we can go to 70 or 60 or 60, whatever the number is. So that's what we're going to be looking at it. Because I think from a Woodlands perspective, we're doing our part. We're at 50% conversion and we are a massive user, right? And so any much more that we can do to add to that endeavor, I think helps the overall, obviously, county.
So what's left that you can talk about is that we have a summer winter factor. Right, so we have a capacity of 29, 28. Roughly, let's say we have 8 left. If you look at the capacities of the system as a whole, we're not using all the capacity of water plant, but we'd have to find a way to shift more water plant water in the winter and cut it back in the summer. So we take less groundwater off. This is a groundwater issue. And so the question remains is, how do we do that? In order to do that, we have to look at the available excess capacity we would have in the summer months in order to.
Those are the kinds of questions that I think a group should be looking at. And I leave it to you as our trustee to determine.
I think the Congo.
Carries that flag.
The Congo agreement, although there may be some issues with it, allows us to go a little further into discussion now. Now that they've joined and taking more water, that takes us up to the 70% point. Now I think we need to begin having discussions about how do we use the rest of the plant. And I don't think
The
the GRP plant, and that will slow the use of groundwater.
We are having internal conversations.
Just to keep an eye on the time, it's 5:09.
What's that?
It's 5:09.
Okay,
I
we
wanna
better,
move on.
okay, so any further discussion of the question? Okay. Okay, so, go ahead.
Questions? Is the SJRA or is Woodlands Water responsible for the water line replacement cycle?
It says jury.
SJRA? Okay. Last month, I missed last month's meeting, but I saw the minutes or the video. You said that the data will be reported to the MUDs annually. The
Data on
on the water line conditions as you replace them.
as, well, several things will be reported. One is, as we're replacing those pipes, we will be able to tell you true condition because of what we're pulling out of the ground. And then as breaks occur, we will be taking those opportunistic samples and holding them and then getting 5 or 10 or 20 together and then having them tested.
Okay, just for clarification, you said that it would be done annually, that you would report to the MUDs, and then a formal reassessment every 5 years, starting in 2030.
Definitely over the 5 years.
Will the annual assessments continue after 2030? Or is it every 5 years after that?
That time I don't recall. So let me do some checking.
And basically what you agreed to do is continue with the work that David Spencer began.
Right.
And as we, as they get samples, maybe not, every sample, but they group them in lots of 4 or 5 and then send them off for analysis and then adjust the data set. Am I paraphrasing?
Yes. And that is what I said a moment ago.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna start collecting that data yet. But we're doing the same thing. We only have 2 though, so far over the last 2 years.
I heard that there was some, are we at the point with, you're gonna talk about the GOP? There's some holdup on the decision to,
That would be number 19.
that'd be number 19? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna cover that there. Okay.
Projects, the only thing if you want to talk about, I don't care to, with the Woodland District water system and the disinfection program, which actually Eric kind of covers. Bill, I think that's done. Do you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah,
Any
we're,
questions about the project report, please get them to Eric and we'll address those
Okay.
as quickly as we can.
Thank you.
Yeah, 13 is in the hands of the Corps of Engineers, so we're waiting to hear from them. Item 14, there is bad pay app number 3. However, there was no specific work done in 46, so you have no share of that particular
Right.
pay app, so no action tonight on that.
and the AWWA bylaw changes, you're gonna represent us in that meeting?
However you want.
So make a motion that we appoint Eric as our representative.
I will second that motion
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
with gusto.
Okay, so we're on 16, matters related to the board directors and the director election, May 2nd, including authorization to post notices regarding candidate filing period. Any,
Yes, so as you said, the election's coming up in May. There'll be a January agenda item to call that election. For now, there's a requirement to post the notice. There's a sample on page 70. Requirement to post this notice regarding candidate filing period by December 15th. You'll see on that notice, it gives you the first day to file is January 14th, and that runs through February 13th. So all we need today is a motion to authorize Schwartz Page and Harding to prepare and post that
I
notice.
propose the motion. I second it.
second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so we got the 17, the attorney's report,
Nothing under.
Eric, 18.
Yes, just real quick, couple things. Happy to report that I was able to get all 10 MUDs to participate in the dam engineering project. So you hadn't heard that. It happened after your meeting last month. So good. We had a tour of the dam a few weeks ago, had pretty good attendance on that. A lot of folks showed up and kind of got a bird's eye view of what we're dealing with there. So that went well. Our report starts on
72. I have a question.
shoot,
72.
go for it.
Okay. In last month's report, if you look at LUD 46, about halfway down, there were three segments that were related to LUD 46. One redevelopment and two new. One fire station we talked about, it's fine. That's the one on Macbeth. What I was questioning is this month, it showed that the locations of the active number of projects is 3, but last month on page 47, same report, it was 2. More disconcerting is that last month for the other residential that was new developments was 6, now it's 9. And my question there is, again, with SFDUEs, if we've already approved 2 and 6, how did they get to 3 and 9? And were you notified about it? And did we in fact attempt to charge them as we have approved 5 meetings ago?
Yeah, last month, those that we talked about, they were all in motion prior to your motion.
Okay,
So they did not apply. I'll have to ask about the new numbers. I just don't have that with me.
not to worry, just ask the question, well, what changed? So,
But I do know that when the new ones come in, we are asking for that amount.
okay,
But I don't believe since you've made that motion that we've had it. So.
And that residential that went to 9, where is that roughly located?
I don't know.
You don't know?
We've got it in our database.
Database.
can we make that a,
And keep in mind, that may not be a new house. That could be a backyard patio or an add-on.
We'll find out.
Like that. Yeah.
and if an SFDUE was required, then obviously, because I'd like to get a benchmark in before the elections change the possible construction of this board, to have at least a precedent of us charging for an SFDU. So to make that can I make a motion to make that part of the agenda, or is that going to be just?
So what we want to discuss is the details.
Yes,
Are they a pool? Is it a refurbishment or is it new construction? I guess that's
We'll
what.
include that in my general manager.
thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
I'll agree with that for sure.
So Eric, there's one thing I want to broach is that, in the past, we've had election problems within the WWA elections. And I just want to make sure we all understand that employees of the WWA should not be, using government resources to help incumbent candidates. And that was done in the past. And I was really disappointed in the law firm as I stood in front of this body at one point. And I warned the trustee president, the law firm, and the SJA manager that the use of government email addresses, to send out campaign literature using the .org address system was illegal. And I expressed that, and I got confirmation of my statement from the trustee president. And 5 days, it was done. And 5 days later, after the attorney heard about this, it was done again. And so I just make sure everybody understands that, we're ready to file complaints if the, the election isn't done properly. We don't want to.
Understand.
You just want
I
to,
wasn't here.
you were not here. I agree with you.
I don't need any threats. I
Yeah,
appreciate
no.
you going back through history when I wasn't.
You wasn't here. I 100% agree with that. And I was hoping that it would not come up, but
Following whatever rules are in place.
right.
And so I don't need any threats.
Yeah, okay.
I appreciate
I'm
it.
just saying because we've had
I'm aware of what occurred prior to when I got
Yeah.
there. Whatever that was, so.
Yeah.
I'm happy to follow whatever
I'm glad.
needs to be followed.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
Who's gonna do the perp walk? I'm sure.
What's that?
Who's gonna do the perp walk?
Yeah.
Yeah. that'll do it.
Okay, so we have trustees report we've done. So are we going to recess now into closed session?
Second, for
Yeah.
both Allen's and the
Sewer backup. Okay, so let's go to closed session.
I'm not.
Stop.
Oh, right. Yeah, no.
Oh.
Same.
Yeah, that's.